Hello, friends. Welcome to episode number 40 of It'll Be Fine. We're still a socially distant baking food chat show. And I put this in my hair instead of blowing up balloons. Seemed like a fair compromise. Episode 40. Holy heck. So cool. And not only are we celebrating our 40th episode, Father's Day is coming up. So we're going to celebrate Father's Day. If you'll indulge me. It's a picture of my dad and I back in the day. Dad's the one in the crib. I love my dad. Love you, man. And because that is reason to celebrate, those are two reasons to celebrate. Got some vodka on hand, do some boozy shots later. Because I'm of Latvian heritage, so, we will do a shot to celebrate a birthday, or, the fact that it's Thursday, whatever. Anyhow, we are in for a fun time today, guys, and my guest is about to be a new dad himself, which is awesome. Bryan Rosen is on the show. He's going to make an excellent dad. Dan is a fantastic comic. He's a producer, a writer. He works a bit in TV. He's a cool guy. So I'm so glad he's joining us. And oh my gosh, his very pregnant wife is very excited to get some treats. Because she freaking deserves it. She's making a human. Made a human. Like, that's really cool. Dan and I are making cookies. I spelled it out on the fridge, though. Cookies. Yeah. It's an adequate compromise. And we're using a recipe today from beyondfrosting.com. Now this is for Fruity Pebbles cookies. I can't find that cereal in Canada, so I've gone with Lucky Charms. Dan is going, I believe, with Honey Bunches of Oats. But use what you want to do. Use what you do. I haven't done the vodka yet, I swear. Pick your own cereal. And also on today's show, we are offering some love, offering some attention to Food Banks Canada. So guys, enjoy. It's episode 40. It's gonna be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Okay, taking this off in 5 seconds. This is really annoying. Here's what you need for the cereal cookies. I am using Lucky Charms because they are magically delicious. But use whatever you want. You are also going to need some unsalted butter. You will need flour, sugar. I'm going to go with granulated. You can use brown. It'll change the consistency a bit, but you can totally use it. You need 2 large eggs, vanilla extract, some chocolate to dip the cookie in afterwards. If you choose, you can dip it in white chocolate or dark chocolate or both. Do a little marble. That is cool too. You also need baking soda and cream of tartar. Now, Dan and I had a hard time finding cream of tartar. It's hard to find in Toronto right now for some reason. So, if you only have one of those ingredients, you know what you can do? You can use baking powder. It replaces both of them. Baking powder does what cream of tartar and baking soda do together. So if you have baking powder on hand, go grab that. That's what you need. And don't put this in your hair. That's silly. Excited for cereal cookies.
Me too. My wife is also very excited for cereal cookies.
I bought for the first time in a long time Lucky Charms.
Nice.
They're
I
magically delicious.
love those cereals, but I never got to have them as a kid so much because my parents were doctors, and then I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So it was tough for me to, it was like doubly against 2 parents who are doctors, and then also like a bowel disease. So it'd be like, no, you're not allowed to have anything sweet, salty.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. I mean, those cereals that I had as a kid probably were not the greatest thing for me, but they were fun.
That's true. But I get so jealous because Cookie Crisp would come out or something like that, and then friends of mine would be like, "Oh yeah, I got Cookie Crisp." And I'm like, Oh, I got porridge again. That was my.
By the way, what cereal are you using today for the cookies?
Pardon?
What cereal are you going with for cookies
So
today?
I'm going with Honey Bunches of Oats. So it's still like a sweet, fun cereal, but it's like a healthy, maybe not the super healthy cereal, but it's definitely like the least unhealthy cereal.
I feel like the fact that the box says more granola and that there's honey in it gives you the illusion you're doing something really good.
Oh, for sure.
You
I
know, like for mine, it's got the notation that there's whole grain.
right.
I feel like Yahoo.
That's
But for folks that just gonna mention for the folks at home who are watching, we're using today a recipe from Beyond Frosting, something I spotted on Instagram. These are actually fruity pebble cookies, but we're going with our own cereals, which is totally fine.
yeah.
It's
And
gonna
it's
be
actually,
fine.
which is very on brand for me because I rarely follow a recipe to the T anyways.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
I
totally
had because I had a neighbor growing up who was a really big who had his own like donut store. And so I shadowed him once for school. We had to follow someone who like works in business. And
yeah.
he was like, we were like in the back and he was like getting like the muffins prepared for the afternoon. And he was like, he wasn't measuring anything. He was just pouring it in. He's like, that seems about right. That seems about right. And then like that kind of inspired me.
It's amazing. I have to mention, I'm also adding fun stars to
Oh,
my.
nice. So I'm doing also because it
Yeah.
said you could do
Yeah.
white chocolate, and I don't have white chocolate. But what I decided is I'm gonna take chocolate chips that I melted
Ooh,
in the microwave, and then I'm just gonna mash them up, and
yeah,
then I'll add some extra chocolate to them.
absolutely. So yeah, for folks watching at home, part of the recipe is optional. You can dip the cookie in a chocolate. I'm not going to do that. I'm adding the stars, but Dan's doing the chocolate, which is fine. So
Sweet. We can compare.
we can totally compare. Do you want to get started, buddy?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, so step one, we're taking, now by the way, we are batching down on this recipe. So we're not using as much as the recipe calls for because we don't want to make 24 cookies. I live alone, so that would be crazy.
Okay,
Uh,
I actually ended up not that. I actually didn't batch down. I went one for one.
Good
But
odds. You have
in my
someone in the
defense,
house though, so
I have a ravenous wife who has a reason to be ravenous because she's got a baby on the way.
she's a
Uh,
child. Yeah, it's
yeah, so
amazing.
she's 7 months pregnant. So I need to make cookies for 2.5 people. So that.
Yes, you do. See, you're winning Dad of the Year already, and
Woo!
babies. Yeah. So, alrighty, let's get this cracking. Okay, so on a little mixer, I've got the KitchenAid here. We're gonna add our butter and our sugar until creamed together. So head to this. Do you have a KitchenAid at home, or are you doing this by hand?
I do have a KitchenAid actually. I haven't thought about
Amazing.
it. I'm gonna quickly run and grab it.
Go do it. So you're just gonna do this together until it's nice and creamy. We want to get a nice consistency like this. And then one tip with the KitchenAid, if you have like a little spatula or knife, just go around the edges and push it all down so that nothing goes to waste.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah.
Because usually when you're mixing stuff in the KitchenAid, it can fly up to the bowl. So just push it back down. All right.
Sweet.
Okay, next step is we're adding 1 egg, or in my case 1, in your case 2, because you're doing the full.
Yeah.
We're going to do the whole egg in the bowl.
Scratch.
Open. Wash. Perfect. And we're also adding in vanilla. That is the next step. This recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, not tablespoon, teaspoon.
Yeah.
I always like to reference our buddy Cliff Knight whenever I mention vanilla, because in the episode he was in, which is episode 2, he talked about how he loved the smell so much he drank a bottle of this.
Oh,
You
wow.
never do that. Yeah.
Did he get like horribly sick or?
I believe he was not well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really don't recommend that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cliff's fine. Cliff's still around.
Yeah. I was talking to him today, so he is still alive.
He's still around.
Hours ago, so yeah. That's so funny. I do love vanilla. My dad used to he'd always suggest for it when we'd be making whenever we'd be making stuff. So he'd for baking, he'd say, "Ooh, just for a little extra flavor, always add a little bit of vanilla."
And what you can do is put a little behind your ears and you'll smell delightful.
There you go. And you don't have to eat any of it at all.
Yeah, it's all perfume. It's nice.
Yeah.
All right, so we're taking the egg and the vanilla and we're going to continue mixing in the bowl.
And the vanilla added to the sugar and the butter.
I love that you have this show, by the way, because I love the idea of combining comedy with baking.
Yeah.
As I always like to bake banana bread at shows, for people at shows, so now I get to, this is the closest I've gotten to do that in a few months now, so.
Oh, that makes me happy. I'm so glad. What was the first thing you ever learned to make? Either baking or cooking, do you remember?
I mean, other than like macaroni and cheese or whatever, I would say probably banana bread. It was actually when I went to Vancouver to visit cousins, and my cousin, when I arrived, she had a piece of chocolate chip banana bread that her husband had made, and I was single at the time. This was like years ago, 10 years ago. And she was like, "If you want to land a good woman, this is a tip from my husband. Get really good at baking, because that's how he won me over with his baked goods." And so I started doing.
They say it's the way to the heart, right? It's through the stomach.
Yeah. So I learned how to make chocolate chip banana bread, and then for years never learned how to make anything else, because I was like, "Oh, I just need this one recipe, right?" But now, one thing that's been great about isolation is I have done a lot of cooking. I made zucchini bread the other day.
Oh, and one of my favorites.
And so I've started to make a lot of other stuff. We don't drink alcohol, but we have some leftover wines that people have given us housewarming gifts. So I've started trying to cook with wine to add to sauces and stuff like that. So at least as house husband, I've been able to experiment with cooking and baking a lot.
Oh, that's so cool. Has your wife had any peculiar cravings, or has it been pretty much by the book of what you expected, ice cream, pickles, kind of stuff?
It's been pretty by the book. No weird mixes, other than just sometimes just eating a lot, and then just just sometimes having moments where she'll just be like, "Oh, I need to eat this now," or "I need to have snacks now," kind of thing. Yeah, phases. There'll be an ice cream phase, then there'll be a pita phase or a hummus phase or something like that.
This recipe calls for baking soda and cream of tartar. Nor Dan or myself could find cream of tartar in the city of Toronto. I don't know who bought it all, but someone did. So if you're like us and you don't have it, use baking powder. If your recipe calls for baking soda and cream of tartar, baking powder, magic! And in this case, the recipe calls for half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. So do 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
Perfect.
All right. And you're going to add this to your flour in a separate bowl. How nervous are you on a scale of 1 to 10 about baby coming? Are you feeling pretty cool by this point, or are you still?
No, I'm still at a good 11. I'm very excited, and it's helped to have time to since I'm not working other than comedy in the evenings and writing during the day.
Yeah.
So I've had time to mentally prepare. I mean, I can show you our living room is just like a smorgasbord array of like a. It's like a bomb dropped and exploded like cribs and strollers and booster seats
Nice.
and like little like squeaky toys and all kinds of stuff like that. So
It's only gonna get better, man.
yeah. But it's
And
almost
that's
like
just the stuff for you. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
that's right. Yeah.
All right. So we've done that, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take this separate bowl of, in our case, baking powder and flour, and we're going to add this to the KitchenAid in increments. So just slowly add a bit of flour. Don't dump it all in at one time. And that's what we're doing next. So you know what I love about these Lucky Charms? I want to see if I can find one. Oh yeah, here we go. So this one, it's got unicorns.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm using my Lucky Charms cereal here.
That's so cute.
Just kind of fold this part in. So I'll just move this over a bit. I'll do a shot of this in a second. And as I say, I'm also adding in the stars.
And how much of the mix are we supposed to eat while we make it?
How much are you supposed to eat? Well, you have to do quality control. So,
Yeah,
you
lick
know.
the spoon a bit.
Oh, the stars look. Oh, look at all this. This is so great.
Part of this recipe is that it was an excuse to buy cereal.
Mmm.
You know.
Do you usually have breakfast cereal?
I'm not a cereal gal. I'm really not. I like my eggs and toast and like a breakfast burrito. I'm not a cereal person. I'm really not. But
Okay,
this is
that's always like eggs and stuff. That's like a weekend thing for me. I'll be like eggs and bacon or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy my breakfast eggs or like an avocado toast. I enjoy doing that. I love pancakes. Those are my breakfast. In a perfect world, what would a perfect Dan breakfast be? If you could have
Let's
any.
see. A regular like Monday to Friday one is Cheerios with blueberries, like very
Nice.
typical. But then, and then like I'll have like a banana with like almond butter on it.
Mm.
But like a fancy weekend one would then be, yeah, like scrambled eggs with like veggies and like turkey bacon, and then yeah, some like pancakes, like fruity pancakes on the side, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right. Part 2 of this whole process. So we've taken our dough out of the fridge. If you haven't yet, go grab it.
Mm-hmm.
I have our ice cream scoop.
Yeah.
This is my trick because I don't have like a dough scooper that I've seen on like fancy Food Network shows. I just used an ice cream scoop for this.
Oh, nice.
And kind of use your discretion of how big you want these cookies. You can make a bunch of big ones or like tiny little guys. I'm gonna do like just a nice scoop. And you know,
Cool.
obviously friends, wash your hands. But I'm making a ball.
Oh, nice. Do you put parchment paper down on the...
I did. I definitely did put parchment paper. If you don't have any at home, you can just really make sure your cookie sheet is greased up. But I'm using parchment.
Whoops, I got the wrong thing. Yeah, I like to use parchment paper too, but I wasn't sure. Like I was... So I'm gonna follow this as per your recommendations.
Yes, and for those watching at home, your oven should be set to 350. These cookies are only going to bake for about 11 to 13 minutes, like not a long bake whatsoever. These are super color, if you can see, Dan, but I got some fun like colors in mine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mine's not quite as colorful, but it's got some good bits to it. Sweet.
You got honey in yours. They're going to be sweet.
And I'm wondering, should I dip the chocolate before or after?
You are going to do, in your case, you're going to do the chocolate after the bake. Once the cookies are out of the oven, you can either drizzle chocolate over them or you can dip them and do like kind of like a New York style black and white cookie. You know,
I
one
like that.
color.
I like the idea of the drizzle. I think the drizzle is a good idea.
I think drizzle's good. Yeah. If
I
you're
feel I
really
was
fancy, if you're really fancy, you can spell your wife's name in chocolate.
I always found it really fancy. Like when if I was eating at a restaurant as a kid, and
Yeah.
then the dessert had anything drizzled, I'd be like, "Oh, we're at a fancy restaurant. Things are
Exactly.
drizzled."
I love that.
That's how you know you're. That's how you know you're fancy.
You got drizzle.
So I have a question for you, Kelly, about the show.
Yeah.
It's called It'll Be Fine, and I was wondering what was the inspiration for that title?
That inspiration came from having a couple of friends over, two fellow comics whom you know, Janice Israeloff and Lisa Feingold.
Nice.
They were over last summer, summer of 2019, and we were baking a cake just for fun, getting together, and it wasn't working out. And I kept muttering, "It'll be fine." And I thought maybe for a show.
Wife is very much the kind of person who, when things get overwhelming, I'm the kind of person who'll be like, "This is a lot," whereas she's always like, "It's a lot, but we'll get through it."
Because you're a good painter. That's good.
She very much has that "it'll be fine"
Awesome.
mentality. I find when things get tough.
That's so great. Yeah. Yeah. As somebody like myself who deals with anxiety and panic attacks, I really have to like enforce that in me. It's going to be okay. And which is a good little strategy for life. Like we're going through a lot of stuff right now, and we just have to trust it's going to be all right. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of those things that I find where I could be like in the middle of because I mean, I've been pretty good in the last little while, but I've had panic attacks and I've had definitely like anxiety issues where I'll be like, "Oh God," even though like it's about something that I know, like just worst comes to worst, like you do a bad set, or like worst comes to worst, you make a mess and you'll have to fix it. So yeah, but then that's still, I was like, but why is my heart still palpitating so much?
Righty. So I don't know if you can see this here, Dan, but I've got my cookie to go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Carrie, this is our professional tester.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's baby.
That's who we're making the cookies for.
Exactly. And in honor, because this is our Father's Day episode, of course, so in honor of my dad, who's watching, Richard, I've got a shot of vodka I will do to celebrate upcoming baby and our cookies. So here we go.
I'll have to get a shot of vodka for Carrie.
No.
No.
Congrats.
There.
All right.
Now, I wasn't able to exactly make her name, but I kind of did Care Bear.
That looks very scary, Dan.
Yeah. My cookie, they're not as pretty. Yours had like looked really neat and nice, but
These are mine here. I've got the laptop, so I can't really fold
Those
them
are
out.
good.
I'm pretty happy with them. The bottoms look pretty nice. I've got a nice little color on the bottom.
oh, nice.
Lightly gold.
Bit of color there. So I'm pretty happy. I'm excited to try one of these babies.
Sweet.
Because I, of course, use Lucky Charms, so I've got like marshmallow, so that's added sugar. And let's see your bottom there, Dan. That looks like a good bottom. Nice.
Nice. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's slightly brown.
It's a good little bottom. All right. Are we
Thank
ready,
you for
guys?
complimenting my bottom.
Good cookie cheers to each other.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right.
Here, take half.
Sweet. Thank you.
Those out of you.
I'm a fan. This is a good, nice, soft cookie.
Maybe?
No, good.
No. Carrie has shown me that although my cookies might be ugly on the outside, their true beauty is on the inside.
This is a good cookie. This is like a good milk and, just kind of hang out and Eat cookies, Cookie. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And we made tons.
Good job, guys.
Enough for Carrie the baby and maybe 1 or 2 left over for me.
Absolutely. And I'm going to share some of these with my dad because I'm seeing him tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be prouder I did the shot of vodka. I'm not going to lie. But it's kind of crazy. Now, I just have to ask while Carrie's here, Dan, you've been doing some comedy online, as I have, because that's the way we got to do stuff now. Carrie, are you watching Dan as he performs in the room, or are you just like reading a book somewhere else?
Half the time I'm in another room, but I can still hear him.
Mm.
So I'll tune in when he's going, and
Yeah,
then
you
all
got
I
that.
hear.
My wife does it. She tunes in. Carrie will have an ear for anything like, oh, so this one thing my wife is doing is blah, blah, blah. And then that's when she'll like come out of the solarium. She'll be like, I heard that, mister.
Have a good ear for those ones. This is my favorite.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We'll see you guys later. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thanks, Carrie.
Guys, bye.